Hi, Chanel.
Hello, Cindy.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I just wanted to bring attention to something that's very glaring right now. I don't know if you can tell, but you're not at my house.
Yes, I am not there.
Yeah, we are.
I'm not a ghost.
You're not a ghost, thankfully. Could you imagine if the whole podcast was you as a ghost? Honestly, that sounds like some sort of Disney Channel type concept. My
Yep.
podcaster.
For a TV movie.
Yeah, right. My podcast host is a ghost. It rhymes.
Yes. Let me call Tubi. We got
Right.
this.
Honestly, let's write that. My podcast host is a ghost. But no. The reason why you're not here is there's many reasons, like such as finding flights in time, but we're also trying to do something a little different this time around. Ain't that right?
It's true. We are trying to be more casual because we are producing a lot more content this year.
A lot. Too
A
much.
lot?
Too much.
Like 10x or more
Oh my
amount of
goodness.
content.
Yeah.
And so we needed an easier way to get out episodes without having me flying to where Cindy is at and recording that way and setting up lights and camera and, just short of writing a script
Yeah.
for our podcast. This is going to be more casual. We'll be talking about different topics and whatnot. For this one, this bonus season, what are we talking about, Cindy?
We are going to talk about movies.
Wow.
Yeah.
Movies. I love it.
Right. So, one of the things when Chanel and I were coming up with ideas for the podcast, we ultimately just wanted it to be a candid conversation on topics that we cared about. And one of them was movies. Well, more specifically, Chanel, you came to me and you started talking to me about movies where it'd just be a new movie came out, you would go see it by yourself, or you saw a lot of movies with your dad and you would just kind of give me the play-by-play on the phone. And then for my birthday last year, I decided to get myself an AMC Stubs Pass, which gives me the opportunity to see 3 movies a week. And through that, I've been able to watch just as many movies as you. So we just kind of have these one-on-one conversations, and with, the ideas of awards, Oscars, and whatnot. I only know the Oscars for movie awards because I'm American. I should pay attention to more other ones, but yeah, Oscars, the Golden Globes, we watch those. So it's kind of nice that now, since I watch these movies, not only can I have a conversation with you, but then I feel as though I can add to that conversation when it comes to the award seasons. Anyway, we decided to do movies as a way to kind of just bring a more candid, like you said, modem for our podcast, not as scripted. I loved how you said you have to fly here, set up lights and a camera, like we didn't set up lights and a camera by ourselves.
Yes. Yes. We did, but these lights and cameras are a lot more low effort.
Yes.
Compared to the ones that we set up at your house.
Agreed.
That's like a whole filming studio at that point.
It's true. We made a mini filming studio in my house. But yeah, so for this season, we are just going to go and kind of talk about some of the movies that we have watched recently, kind of give a little bit, not necessarily go through and give a full synopsis. If people want to see these movies, they can go ahead and see them, but we'll kind of relay the scenes that we liked the best, or just overall what we liked about those movies. If we want to get into the directors, get into the actors, and overall we'll have a ranking system where we'll go through, and for every single movie that we talk about, we'll rank them against each other. So this episode, we're going to talk about 2 movies, and then the next episode we'll talk about another 2 movies, and so on and so forth. And then from there on, we'll increase the list and overall just move things as we see fit.
Yes. And so the cast of movies that we are exploring this season are all from 2023
Yes.
and then 2024. So the last couple years, because I fell off movies last year. So I'm like, I didn't watch a good portion of the Oscar films or, the the films that came out in 2023. So this is a little bit of a catch-up time for me.
You said last year and I got confused and I was like, nope, Chanel, last year we watched a lot of movies.
2 years.
Isn't that crazy though?
Ago.
It's just like, this is the awkward period where it's just like, you know, the year has just started and we're just, it takes, honestly for me, it takes like almost half the year for me to start writing 2020, well, at least in this case, 2025 on papers, you know, like changing the new year. I'll still have some documents up until like June or May, June that say like 05/12/2024. And it's like, yeah.
Oh.
But anyway, what are the movies that we're going to talk about today, Chanel?
Today, we are talking about Past Lives and Challengers.
Yes.
Wow.
Past Lives that came out in 2023 and Challengers that came out in 2024. I'm going to ask a stupid question, but a question all the same. Which movie do you want to start talking about first, Chanel?
You see, actually, Cindy, that's not a stupid question.
Is it not?
Because I want to start with Past Lives.
Oh, I just got chills. I got goosebumps. I'm so shocked. For Chanel, Challengers was like her lifeblood. It became a personality trait for her.
It did.
In 2024.
It's the fact that I know how to play tennis now.
Yeah, you did take up tennis because of that movie. So I am actually thoroughly surprised. I'm thoroughly surprised that you did not say Challengers first. But if you want to go chronologically, I'm not going to complain.
Wow, switching it up.
Right, let's just switch it up. So we're going to talk about Past Lives first. Do you by chance know the name of the director and maybe the writer of that film, Chanel?
Yes, I have IMDb open, so I do.
Yep. So let's just start there. Who directed and wrote this movie?
This was directed and written by Celine Song. Okay. And so I think this was her director debut, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I could be mistaken.
Wow.
But I think so. So golf clap.
Yes, golf clap.
Celine Song doing the darn thing. And so as for the general plot synopsis of Past Lives, we follow two people, a man and a woman, through 3 parts of their lives. So it's first when they are young, they're 12 years old. And so they're both living in Korea.
South Korea.
They're children. Wow, living their best lives. And so it is a woman. She had a Korean name, but later on she gets an English name and it's Nora. So that's her name throughout the movie, Nora. And then we have her male counterpart, which is Hae-sung in the movie. And so they are like best friends, bordering like dating ish, like they have one date,
like as close as you can get to dating
Nora,
at like 12 years old.
Yes, parent chaperone dates. Yes, and so they have that one date together, and then she ends up immigrating to the United States,
to Canada.
And so they are separated. Oh yeah, Canada, specifically, I think Toronto. Yes. Thank you for correcting me. Canada, United States. They might be the same place. North America. Okay. So then
if there's any Canadians listening to this podcast, they will vehemently like disagree with you that
you see, we are all one. We are the world. We are the children.
Okay, Michael Jackson.
Thank you. Okay, so so they are separated.
Yes.
So 12 years later, I believe they're both in university at this time. And Greta ends up stumbling on a post that he made. Oh my gosh, I said the actor's name. Nora. I have IMDb open.
Yes.
It's open, girl. I need to stop accidentally reading it. Thank you. Yep. So Nora stumbles across a Facebook post where Hae-sung is looking for her. I think he was trying to go through her dad.
Yes.
And so she ends up contacting him on Facebook, and then they start video chatting back and forth. After some time, the video chatting, it kind of gets to that point where they're kind of sort of dating again.
Right.
But they're both across the world from each other. He's still in Korea. He's planning on going to China to do what is that called when you're a student and you go to China?
Exchange. Become an exchange student
in China.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then she's in the United States. She's in New York doing like a writing degree or something like that. And so she decides like this is too much and we're not going to be able to be together. So we should just end it basically.
Yes.
And so 12 years later, wow, she is married. She's living in New York. She's got her husband. She's vibing. And then homeboy just broke up with his girlfriend-ish. And he's coming to New York City. And so they're going to reconnect in New York City. Drama. And so that's pretty much the plot.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
That's good. So let's get into the film and talk about what we liked and what we disliked. I'm going to go ahead and start. I personally found like the idea of jumping 12 years, man, that is drastic. And I feel like it was the least most, or I guess it was the most jarring, I guess, going from 12 to 24, just because you go from younger actors to like the main actors, you know? But going from 24 to 36, it was kind of hard for me to conceptualize how much time had passed since they all looked the same.
They looked exactly the same.
I would say for me, I feel like the ending part, which was the last 12 years, so when they were 36, was my favorite part of the film, because that was the first time that they were able to see each other since Nora's character left South Korea at the age of 12, right? Which is something to me that I thought was very interesting, because it's like they have been in not constant, but they've been communicating all these years, but they haven't seen each other. So what is that dynamic going to be? And it was giving everything that I thought it needed to give. There was angst, there was want, there was like sadness and
lust.
I don't know, a lot of things.
Yes.
What do you think about that, Chanel?
Yeah, so you mentioned the 12 years apart each time. I really wish that can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me? Hello? Hold on.
Chanel? Oh, hi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Where'd you go?
You know, I must have pressed something on my headphones. My bad.
No, it's okay.
Sorry, chat. Sorry.
Yeah, I lost Chanel for a little bit. We'll see if this makes it into the final cut or if editing Chanel cancels it out. But
I think editing Chanel will be lazy, but we'll find out.
Okay.
So what I was saying was, you mentioned the 12 years, like breaking it up.
Yeah.
So I really wish that for the second part of the film,
when they were like 24.
When they're like 24. Yeah. Yes, I wish they would have had different actors, because neither actor looked 24.
Agreed.
They looked their age. Agreed. And so it was very hard for me to be like, oh, you're supposed to be young. And then they gave Hae Sung, his actor, he has like the little bowl cut. Right. And I'm like, I don't know if that's working for you make you look younger.
They try to age him down, you know, so I like props to them.
They tried. They really did.
Yeah.
They tried, but I think they failed. So I would have loved if they would have chose just different actors. But again, I understand why they didn't, because it's like, dang, can I act in my movie? Can I act in my movie?
Hey.
Like, how is 2/3 of it not... It needs to be me, you know?
I mean...
So I get that.
To an extent, though, because it depends on what you're trying to portray. You know, you could see it as having the actors act in the movie, or either way I took it was, we have a set budget. We already have to get kid actors because we can't have our adults. Could you imagine if they try to use them as 12-year-olds looking like...
There's probably a way to do it.
There probably is a way, but they'd be the same height as their parents.
Yes.
They'd be some big 12-year-olds. So, but yeah, ultimately I was saying that I really enjoyed the last 12 years. If I had to take anything from that movie, I would probably take the last 12 years, and I would probably make it... No, I was about to say I'd make it longer. I think the length of it was good. It was just my favorite part, you know? Because there was that scene at the bar, right? With Nora's husband. His name's Arthur. Okay. Oh, look at me remembering names.
Memory.
So it's Arthur, Nora, and Haesung at the bar. Haesung's English is not that great, and Arthur's Korean is not that great. So the only person who could really communicate between them is Nora. And at the beginning, Nora's like translating. So whatever Arthur says, she'll translate into Korean to tell Haesung, and whatever Haesung says, she'll translate into English to tell Arthur. But then there's a point of that movie where, and like also Haesung does try to speak directly to Arthur as well. And of course, there's just certain words where he's just like, hey, how do I say this? But there gets to be a point where Haesung stops trying, where he just continues to talk directly to Nora in Korean. And then Nora also stops trying. Like you can see that magnetic pull between them. And even though you don't see physically there being distance between Nora and Arthur, it just feels like there's a growing distance. Like Arthur is the third wheel when it's like, that's his wife.
Yeah. I like the scene where in the beginning it opens on that same scene that is at the end of the film.
They opened with that scene?
They opened with that scene, and it's people sitting at a different table talking about, hey, what's the relationship between those three people?
Oh.
Like, is that brother and sister, and that's her friend or husband?
I completely forgot about that scene.
Married, or those two married? And And I thought that was very funny because I'd be doing that to people.
Oh, of course.
Thank
People
you.
watching is the best type. Like
Yep.
The thing is, I like to people watch, but it's better to people watch with somebody else because you can be the most creative. Like, oh, this is a tangent, but it reminds me about when we went to that tiki bar in San Francisco that was recommended to us by your friend. And because the drinks were so bad, we were just trying to make up stories in case people were listening to us because we were listening to other people's conversations. So I feel like the most creativity happens when you're outside with people that you don't know and you're just trying to speculate what they're trying to say.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say overall for this film, one thing that I found lacking, there's a lot that's good about it, but something that I found lacking was I felt like it needed more plot. It needed like a little bit more because I feel like if we would have took this movie and squeezed it down to a short film, it would have been like mind-altering, brain-changing, like I would have been like, oh my God, I can't, past lives. Yeah. Like that would have been me. But because it would have been my challengers.
It would have been your challenge.
Of 2023. But I think the longer runtime, there were certain portions where I was like, okay, I'm kind of bored, like what's happening here. And it's very like meditative, which is fine. But for my preference, you know, I wanted a little bit more, not action, but a little bit more like plot points. Because it's very like just the relationship between the two main characters and everybody else is like not even in it. And so I'm like, maybe we could have added more context. I wanted to see a little bit more of what Homeboy was doing in Korea. Let me see a little bit of the, you know, relationship between husband and wife, you know, just for, if we're going to make it that long of a movie, let's fill it out a little bit more, get a little bit more of the story. But I get what they were trying to do with just the, you know, 3 points of just these two characters.
No, I see that. I understand that. For me, I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much if we had more plot because I ultimately, if I'm gonna be honest, I didn't care. I agree with you. It would be better. It would be more impactful as a short film, but because in my mind, all I'm thinking about is cutting things. Like, in all honesty, if I'm gonna be honest, like you said, short film, just give me at 36 years old. You could have just dropped me in to that conversation, kind of like you said in the beginning. Just drop us into that conversation and let the audience try to figure out what's going on. Because how impactful would it have been if we were in that, we watched it and it was just Nora talking to Haesung, right? And like that whole scene and Arthur's off in that corner and we're like, who is this random guy? who's this guy who's like so close listening to their conversation, and then you get them to walk home where you establish that it's like when Nora's like, Arthur wants to show you our home, and you're like, oh my gosh, they're together, and then you get information about like, oh, well, we've been married for 5 years, and I feel like those revelations, that shock that would have hit you, that like this guy that seemed like the awkward third wheel is actually her husband. And you can tell, because you could see in that scene that there's a level of intimacy between Nora and Haesung that is just not being showed between Nora and her own husband. And so you're going to be looking at Haesung and Nora like, what's going on? Like, what is this? We didn't even, like, we could have assumed that they knew each other in the past. We could have assumed that they dated, because technically those assumptions, even though not explicitly true, they wouldn't have been wrong. And it still would have been so impactful to get those scenes without having them at 12 or having them at 24. So
you see, I agree. I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
It would be crazy if they just started from that scene of them at the bar and then you just keep going and you're like, oh, that's not what I thought this was at all. And then just kind of have it where you kind of discover the things instead of knowing everything. And then at the end, you're like, yeah, this is the culmination, which is fine. But I see what you're saying, Cindy. I would have signed on for that.
Yeah,
yes.
That would have been good. And I think, like you said, short film, 30, 45 minutes tops.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And that would have changed my brain chemistry. Absolutely.
Yes. Rerouted your brain chemistry.
Rerouted a lot of things in my life. Okay, I learned tennis for challengers.
Yeah.
I would have been flying to Korea for
Hey, and I would have come.
Or New York.
Hey, let's go back. Let's go to New York.
Let's go back.
And then let's hit up Korea. I love me some
period.
I love me some Korea.
Period.
So
kimchi. Yes.
So let's just take a second to talk about the actors. So Greta Lee plays Nora, and Tae Yoo, I believe is his name, plays Haesung, right?
Yes.
I think they both did a great job in the film. Like, I actually am learning a little bit, tiny bit more of Tae because he is on a Netflix show currently, the second season of, I think it's called The Recruit on Netflix. So,
oh, I didn't know this.
Yeah, just because I watch Netflix and I like to watch actor interviews, it came up and I was just like, completely different person, obviously. Like, the person that he is in the film in past lives is not who he is, which is what acting is. But it shocked me how vastly different their characters are, because he gives very traditional and conservative in the film, and the life that he lives, like, he speaks Korean, English, German, Russian, French. Like, he gives so open and fluid and like likes to try different foods, which is very different from the like structured person that it gives in the film. Of course, like, you're not who you act. And then I don't know much about Greta Lee, but even still, like, the performance that she gave as well in this film, I thought was exceptional. So I'm a fan of them both, personally.
Yes. And so I have known about Tae Yoo before.
Okay.
Because there was this one K-drama show, Love to Hate You. That's what it's called.
Love to Hate You? Okay.
Love to Hate You. It was so good, so funny.
Oh, he played comedy?
Yes, it's comedy and romance. Yeah. It's so funny.
Look at that
I
range.
enjoyed it so much.
That's some range.
Yes. So if you have the chance, check it out. Okay. Yes. So he be acting. That's all I gotta say. And then for Miss Greta Lee, the only thing I've seen her in was what was it called? Girls. She played like a one-off character in Girls where she was like super rich and hoity-toity and was like, my dad owns blah 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 blah. Yeah. And so that's the only thing I've seen her in. And apparently she's a voice for Solar Opposites. I don't know what that's about.
Solar Opposites?
Yeah, that's a show. It's from the creators of Rick and Morty.
Oh, okay. So, I only just recently got into watching Rick and Morty, so I wouldn't.
Yes.
Yeah.
You see, I do love me some Solar Opposites.
Okay.
Also check that out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is she like? Did you
But
say
yeah, I
it was a
feel-
one-off, or is she like a main cast voice actor?
No, one off for that
Okay.
one off. So I've only seen her in like one-off roles.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen her in anything where she is the main character.
Okay.
And so this was very interesting to see.
Hmm.
I think they both did a wonderful job. I feel like they brought that energy. I also think John Maggiaro, who played Arthur, he also did, because I was looking at him and I was like, dang, I feel so
I
bad
felt
for you because
so
you're trying so hard. He was trying so hard. He's like, I'm here for you, but also I see what's happening in front of my face right now.
It's
This
like
is the love of your life. Why am I here?
it's the shoulda, coulda, woulda. You know what I mean?
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
It's like
Yeah, now it's too late.
if the distance wasn't a thing, if the timing wasn't a thing, it's kind of like they would be together. But then it's the shoulda, coulda, woulda of like, well, in this lifetime, the timing didn't work. In this lifetime,
Yeah.
Like things just didn't work, and so
Yes. And that's exactly what the ending of the film is.
Mm-hmm.
And the ending is so beautiful. That's the best part of the film.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it definitely made me cry
Mm-hmm.
100%. It's the fact that they've been talking about Inyeong, I think it was,
Yes,
the entire
that's
film.
what it is.
It's a Korean word that means basically like the reason why people are in your lives is because they were in a past life before and you had some sort of interaction with them. So me and Cindy, we're chilling here on this podcast today
Yeah.
because in a past life, we passed each other on a corner and we said, hey, what's going on, girl? And you said, hey, girl. And then we just continued on. You know what I mean? That's why we're connected in this lifetime. And so
That's
that's
crazy.
the concept. But
we yapped
essentially
once
at
in
the
a
end of
past
the
life.
film-
We are now yappers.
Yeah, we yapped once and now we're professional yappers. That actually makes a lot of
It
sense.
does.
I believe it.
It does.
And so at the end of the film, they get done with going to the bar and having drinks and talking. And so it's time for Hae-sung to go back home to Korea because he was only in town for a few days. And so she's walking him to basically go pick up his Uber. And so they sit there, they have a little bit of awkward conversation. And then eventually Hae-sung brings up the fact that hey, do you ever think about the fact that if things were different and you stayed in Korea, we would probably be married with children right now?
Mm-hmm.
And her response is essentially, yeah, that could have happened, but it didn't.
Yeah.
But maybe next lifetime.
Yep.
And I
Crazy.
was like, next lifetime, that's so
Crazy.
beautiful.
That's so beautiful.
And then after that, she's like, okay, bye.
Yeah.
And then starts immediately bawling her eyes out
know,
after
right?
she's been like, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, the
she was
entire
being
movie.
She was being so strong. Because she knows.
So strong. No, it's fine, it's fine. And her husband was like, girl,
It's not fine.
it ain't fine. And so she came back and she was
He
like,
was waiting for her on that porch. Like, he already knew.
Because he knew. He's like, this is the love of your life. And you're just not going to be together.
Nope.
So,
Because of me.
yes.
That's what Arthur was thinking.
Because of me.
Because if
Kinda.
you think about it, though, it's yes, it's a kind of, because there was so many more things that she said that she was like, I think she said to Arthur when she was getting ready to go meet Hae-sung, she was like, he's just so Korean,
Yeah.
is what she said. So I feel like if they did try to approach a romantic relationship, again, given the circumstances of their life, it probably wouldn't have worked as well as they thought. But again, love knows no bounds, I guess.
Yep. You never know.
You
Shoulda,
never
coulda, woulda.
know. But yeah,
So on that note,
let's make a
let's move
past
on.
lives film that's called Current Life. Current Life.
oh my gosh. Come to our new film called Current Lives.
Yeah.
She broke up with her husband and she's living in Korea. Wow.
But yeah, sorry. you would like to transition to the film that you've been wanting to talk about since we started. So let's do that.
Yes. Mrs. Challengers.
Challengers. Yes, Challengers,
Period.
which was directed by Luca, written by what's his name?
What's the last name?
Girl,
What's the last
don't
name?
put me on the spot like that. You know I don't know.
You're on the spot.
You know I don't.
You're on the spot.
I don't know.
What's it start with?
Is it a D?
No.
No. Is it a G?
Yes, a G.
Sorry. My bad.
How dare you not know every director?
I don't.
What's wrong with you?
I really don't. I just know I barely even know first names, and I'm thinking, if I'm gonna guess, Luca is the name of the director, and then Justin is the name of the guy who wrote it.
Yes, that is correct.
And that's all
We'll give you 50% on your exam.
I'm not in school anymore, so I rebuke your grades.
F.
I rebuke. But
hey, if we're in England, it's a C, right? Anyways,
yes.
let's move it on.
But anyway,
so it's directed by Luca Guadagnino.
yes,
I probably said that wrong.
it sounded good to me.
I'm trying. Thank you. And then Justin Kirkheit.
Right.
I think that's how you say his name. That's probably wrong too. But yeah, and you know, I always have to mention this fun fact. Justin Kirkheit and Celine Song from Past Lives, they are married.
Wow. Crazy.
So you know they have a third in their relationship. You know they have a third in their relationship.
Right.
I'm so sorry.
Yes, because Challengers focuses on kind of like a throuple with Tashi Duncan, Patrick, and Art. Tashi gets a last name because she is that girl, and the other two just don't get last names. Anyway, it's all focused. It's not because I don't remember them or anything. It's just, yeah. Anyways, the film kind of follows the three of them, but instead of like in Past Lives, it was more chronological. Challengers tells a story focused on time, but you don't get the information in a chronological order. It's like a bit out of sync. And ultimately, it's a love affair between two guy friends, Art and Patrick, and it's kind of a rivalry over this person, tennis star Tashi Duncan, right? So the cool thing about this film is that it's focused all about tennis. Tennis is the main driving theme of this film. And the way that the movie was put together is you're bouncing back and forth between a big tennis match and different time points between these three characters that kind of fill in details of the match that's happening at the present time. But the way that you're bouncing back and forth between the past and the present is giving the whole concept and idea of a tennis match. Isn't that right, Chanel?
Yes, that is correct.
So this film, I gotta say, I've already mentioned that it rerouted Chanel's brain chemistry and it became her personality for the year 2024. But I actually wasn't planning on watching this movie at all because up until I got my AMC Stubs pass, I was adverse of going to the theaters. I moved from a location where you could easily get a movie ticket for like under $10 to a place where a movie ticket was 16, 17, and then for a new movie 22 to 24. So the idea of having to go to the theater to spend almost $24 to see a like 2.5 hour film, I was like, let me just wait for it to be on streaming at my house. But you saw the movie. I can't even remember if it was the first time or the second time you saw the movie, but you saw it and you called me and told me I had to see it.
You gotta watch it.
Yes. And I did, and I called you back and I was like, you know what, Chanel? You're not wrong. This film is amazing.
Amazing. I love it. So yeah, some of the interesting plot points that I loved. We can just start. Well, there's no real beginning, but let's just go through them.
Yes.
We can popcorn back and forth or whatever.
Yeah.
I love
I have a feeling I know.
I'll do the one before that one and then I'll let you go ahead and get that one. So the one before that one that I love is when the guys, Art and Patrick, are watching Tashi Duncan play tennis for the first time.
Yeah.
And the way that they were looking at her, especially Art.
Yes.
Art did it so well because you're watching a tennis match and your face is going back and forth. But it's like his face, his eyes and his face were drawn back to the, I was about to say Zendaya. Whoops. Back to Tashi each time. And it's like the way he did it, you're like, dang, boy, you thirsty.
Let me get you some water.
You need some water. Oh my God. So yes, that's the one I love. Go ahead, Cindy. What's the next scene you love?
Hey, don't say it like that. Don't say it like that.
You loved it.
Okay, so the scene that I feel like sets the tone for this movie and the idea of a throuple is the scene where after Patrick and Art watch Tashi play, they meet up with her at a party and they invite her back to I think they're sharing a room, or is it's one of their rooms actually.
Yeah, they're sharing
Okay.
a room, yeah.
Are they really sharing a room?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Chanel, there's only one bed in that room.
I think that I think that's what they were I think that's what they were saying. I could be misremembering, but that's what I thought.
And maybe I'm misremembering and there's two beds in that room, but I'm pretty sure there
Maybe.
Okay, but regardless,
Anyways.
Tashi does come over, sits down on the bed, and invites the boys to start making out with her. So she's going from Art, then she's going from Patrick, then she's going to Art, and then she slowly brings all their faces together so that they're doing a three-way kiss. And I would just like to pause for a moment because I'm thinking about it. Could you imagine going into work and your director said, "Are y'all ready?" And like, I know it's a part of the job, but I don't think I could even fathom the idea of Justin, that's his name, the one who wrote the film,
Yeah.
which is
Yes.
Justin being like writing it down, Luca reading and be like, "Yeah." The actors
Yeah,
reading it
baby.
and being like, "I guess it's part of the job," and then the execution blows me. But anyway, they start with like a three-way, or they didn't start, but they're in the midst of a three-way kiss. And Tashi, played by Zendaya, does the lean back. And it's just Art and Patrick making out with each other. And prior to this, Tashi had made comments about how she didn't want to be a homewrecker. And the guys were adamant about the fact that they weren't together. But I'm sitting there watching them make out with each other, being like, you have to know that Art, you have to know you're kissing Patrick, and Patrick, you have to know you're kissing Art, because based off of placement, you know where Tashi's lips are if you're paying attention. Like if you really cared about kissing her, you would know where she is. So that the moment that she leaned
And
back,
they were going for it, girl. They were
going
at it.
Yeah.
They love each other.
they do indeed.
They do.
So that scene to me was the first. It was I mean, it's not necessarily the first time that you get the throuple, but it's like it kind of shows how much of a love triangle it is, because it's not just Patrick loves Tashi and Art loves Tashi. It's they all have some attraction to one another. And in all honesty, the way in which they could have ended this film after this is they met up after that scene and they all decided to be polyamorous. That would have ended the entire movie.
That would have fixed everything.
Everything. If they just all agreed.
Like literally everything. At tennis, and
polygamous.
Tashi would have been a tennis star. Okay.
Yeah. Is it polyamorous or polygamous?
Polyamorous. Polygamy is illegal in the United States. You can't marry more than one person.
Okay, so polygamy is the act of marrying multiple people, but then polyamory
Yes.
is the act of dating multiple people at one time.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Wow, look at that. But yeah, so that for me,
You're learning.
I am. This podcast is teaching me a lot. I'm learning a lot every day.
Yes. So then my turn. Let's see. I love the scene where Art and Patrick are sharing that churro. So beautiful. And the fact that was just like what they decided to do in the moment, that like wasn't in the script.
Oh, really? That was
like,
between the actors?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I
impressive.
heard. It was like a choice that they made and they just kind of went for it and it worked.
That's impressive.
Good
Golf
job.
claps all
Because
around.
I was like, again, they love each other. You guys are so like just naturally romantic with each other. What is up with that? Get it to it.
Right.
So what's your next scene, Cindy?
I'm trying to think, because I hope I'm not going to jump past a scene that you want to talk about.
It's fine.
Okay.
Just jump past it and we can go back if we need.
Okay. My next favorite scene would have to be when Patrick corners Tashi in the hotel and takes her outside into the alleyway. and then asks
Oh,
her
yeah.
to be his coach. And
Yes.
Zendaya pulls the best disgust. I honestly wish that was a capability that I had. She looked so disgusted.
Cindy.
Yeah.
I think you have that inside of you.
You think so?
I really do, because every emotion you feel, it's on your face. So we just need to put you in a place where you feel disgusted and you're going to show it.
See, but it has to be
I
like
highly
that type of
believe.
disgusted though, because it's like it's
Yes.
not disgusted like I smelt something bad. It's disgusted like who does he think he is? What type of audacity?
Who do you think you are?
Right? And I'm like, do I really?
Are you out of your mind?
I really want to put myself in a position where I have to deal with something like that? You know?
You see, but we're too chill for this nonsense.
Maybe. But
Yes.
But to continue on with that scene though, even though she looks so disgusted, Patrick I think gave her his business card and she put it in her pocket.
She put it in the pocket, girl. And this is after he asked her to be his coach,
Yep.
right? She said, "You think you're going to win a slam?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, you have a better chance with a handgun in your mouth."
Yeah.
I said, "Ooh."
She really
And
did.
then she slapped him in the face.
did.
And after all of that and that disgusted look that you gave him, like, I wish if looks could kill, he would be dead.
Oh, truly, 100%.
So after all of that, you took that card and you put it in your pocket?
Yep.
Are you insane?
She is, babes. She's.
Are you mad?
She is. She is.
Tasha's crazy. But she likes it.
She does.
She likes him. She likes that energy
Yep.
that he brings. Okay.
So do you have
So I was looking at Tashi like, girl,
Yeah.
get it together.
She don't want to. She don't have to.
She do not want to, nor does she have to.
Yep.
Because art.
Art.
So my next scene, Art and Patrick in the sauna. Yes. Do you remember this?
Kind of.
Let me set the scene for you. They are both hot and sweaty.
Of course, because it's the sauna.
And so, yes, Patrick walks in. He's like, "Hey, buddy, what's going on?" Whatever. First of all, why is he just taking off his towel like it's cool? He was taking off that towel like it was cool. He said, "Let me show you everything."
It was
I'm
a challenge.
Like, I guess.
He's challenging him
I guess.
in more ways than one.
If you want to show it,
Yeah.
you could show it. Okay. But basically, I love the energy in that scene because you could tell that they hate each other, but why is there still chemistry?
Yep.
There's still chemistry there.
Yep.
They're both like half naked. Patrick's pretty much full on naked. And so they still have that energy, that vibe. But then he came into his own. He was like, "Dude, I know we're playing each other, but this is a stop for me.
Yeah.
This is where you live, girl." And I was like, "Ooh, that hurt me. Ouch." So, yes, I do enjoy that.
Yeah.
Do you have another scene, Cindy?
No, I don't think I do. Like, if I think of the rest of the film, not saying that the rest of the film was not good, but
Yeah.
I think the scenes that stood out for me, we've discussed.
Trying to think. I think the only other one that I can think of is the one with Art on the bed with Tashi
Giving pitiful.
giving pathetic. Absolutely, positively pathetic. Oh my God. The freaking one bent leg on the bed and her like gently grasping his face while he looks up.
See, the way you remember
Tashi?
these details, I don't remember the scene like that at all.
I watched it twice.
Yeah. So that helps.
Actually, I think it's 3 times because Angelica played it at your house as well.
Oh,
so
there you go. Third time's the charm.
yes, so it's in here, and I like that. Okay,
Forever and always.
But
you know
yeah.
it's coming out again in AMC on Valentine's Day, right?
Yep, and I might have to
Watch it again.
tune in, watch it for the 4th time. Why not?
Might as well bring it back. Bring it back.
Might
into
as well.
Bring challengers into
It's
2025.
my movie. Yes. So yeah, I think that's all of the scenes. There's definitely like this podcast could be 3 hours because we could really talk about the entire movie. But I
This
think those
podcast
were
could
the
just be
like
challengers,
standout scenes,
and it'd be 3 hours.
It could. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I think those were the main scenes. So do you want to get into like a little bit of a compare and contrast?
Well, first I want to talk
with the two
about
movies we
these
watched?
actors because I just want to give a
Oh,
shout
yeah.
out to Zendaya, Mike Feist, and Josh O'Connor because the three of them killed this movie. And I'd like to say this, it's
Murdered.
it's actually appalling that none of them are nominated for their performances in this year's award cycle.
Yeah.
It's appalling. And the fact that, mind you, I'm going to say this as an aside, the score was great, but the fact that the only thing out of this entire film that has won so far is a score is absolutely insane. Literally,
Yes.
I'm upset. I know the people who I feel like people who didn't even might not have necessarily liked Challengers as much as we did would have to come and say that the fact that it wasn't nominated for anything is crazy.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
yeah, I'd like to call
Which
them
I'm
out.
like-
Oh yeah,
A lot of the Oscar stuff and the Golden Globes and all these awards, I don't really trust them because I feel like it's just a money. Like, how much money do you have to give to whoever to
yeah,
make it to where you would need to make it?
Yeah.
It feels like that instead of choosing the best film
Right.
of the year.
yeah. But
So
I just before we got
We
into
digress.
comparison, I just wanted to say that the three of them did amazing. And I honestly will
Amazing.
watch anything else that they're in. It doesn't even matter. All three of them. Any other projects that they're going to
yeah.
be in, I will be watching and I'll be sat happily. So,
oh yeah. Period.
but
Point blank. Thank you.
to get into the comparisons, one of the main comparisons that I can easily pick between Past Lives and Challengers is the use of timeline.
Yep.
With Past Lives, like I mentioned, it's more chronological, going from when they're 12 years old, ending to when they're 36. But the timeline plays a key role into the developing of their relationship, kind of showing how the relationship grows, even though they're not together all throughout those years, and ultimately how, despite all this time apart, they still in essence love each other. And then with Challengers, I feel like the way that timeline plays, it's like double fold. It kind of goes into the whole tennis theme of bouncing back and forth between past and present, kind of like you're lobbying the ball back and forth over the net, but it also plays a role into establishing why the characters are the way they are in the past, because we need that context. Like without the past, we would have never known that Tashi was in a relationship with Patrick, and that Arthur ultimately was probably the catalyst of them breaking up, and how, all these, like how Tashi and Art ended up dating in the first place, because it didn't happen immediately after she dumped Patrick. It didn't happen immediately after. So all the extra context to fuel the motivations of the character was provided to us in the past, and that's what was given to us because of the timeline. So that would be one of the things that I would say ties these movies together.
Yes. For me, I would say what ties these movies together, another thing, is longing, lust, and kind of like the idea of like unrequited love, but kind of requited in both cases.
You just gave
know
the
what I
three
mean?
L's:
Like,
longing, lust, and love.
Yes, longing, lust, and love.
Yes.
That you see, that should be a genre.
And honestly,
That should be a category, actually.
It does need to be. Because, I'm sure there's a lot of movies that they honestly, though, now that I think about it, longing, lust, and love, that might just be romance. That might just be the romance
Yes.
genre.
Yes, but also no. It's like, because it feels like whenever you watch a romance movie, it's like you know where it's going to end up and we know where we're going.
Yeah.
But with these two movies, you're like, are they going to get together? And then in some cases they don't, some cases they do, and it's more ambiguous and there's more going on than just, hey, oh my gosh, hey, and then two people get together type thing.
Yeah.
I feel like romances tend to be more straightforward, typically, at least in the mainstream.
Right. Okay.
Subgenre of romance.
Subgenre.
There we go.
There you go. Okay. I don't have any other ties. Do you have any more that ties these two movies? I think those are the big ones, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think those two are the big ones. I would also, this just came to me. Brain blast.
Okay,
Wow.
Jimmy Neutron.
So, yes. So, Challengers main character Tashi. She wants to be a tennis star. You feel me?
Yeah.
Doesn't work out.
Right.
Past lives, Miss Greta.
Nora.
Miss Nora.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I just love the name Greta Lee.
Greta
shout out to
Lee is
Greta
a good
Lee.
name.
That's just a good name.
Yeah.
That's a good name. So Nora, she wants to be a writer, and I loved the part where every time that Hae-sung came back to her, he would ask her like, "Hey, what do you want to be?"
Yeah.
And she kept changing her answer to like a more specific but like smaller thing, you know? So I found that very interesting. So 2 women main characters who are striving for their dreams and they don't end up exactly where they think they would end up.
Right. That's good. That is really good. I didn't even realize that, but that's very
Brain
true.
blast.
They both do share
Wow.
that. Claps
Off the dome.
Claps for you, Chanel. Look at you. You should become a movie analyst, honestly.
Yes.
Quit that day job
Wow.
and just analyze movies on YouTube.
Hey, somebody pay me.
Hey, and you know there are people out there that get paid to do it. I'm like laughing now
That's
because don't ever quit your day job until your side hustle makes you money. But if you end up being successful, you could make a lot of money from that.
I'm ready. Give me money.
All right. So do you want to move now into rankings? Rankings.
Yes. Rankings.
Yes. So
yes, I do.
Like I said at the beginning of this podcast, we will be ranking all the films that we're going to talk about. So today it's going to be Past Lives versus Challengers, and then whatever movies we talk about in the next episode, we'll try to put them either above or below our current rankings for these 2 films. So
Yes.
Chanel, drum roll. Exactly. What would be your number 1? I have no clue what you're going to say. So what would
No
be
clue
not
at
not
all.
a singular clue? What would you say?
Ugh, this is so hard. Oh my god. I need more time. Let me think
Okay.
about Challengers.
Right. Challengers is number 1.
Is number 1.
And Past Lives is number
Period.
2.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We still love Past Lives,
Right.
but we love it less than Challengers.
Of course. I honestly feel like we spent more time talking about Challengers. And when you think about the scenes, we had more scenes that we enjoyed in Challengers over Past Lives.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't think there's any confusion behind why we like
No.
Challengers more than Past Lives. But again, Past Lives,
Period.
good film. A strong contender, just not strong enough.
Not strong enough. Better luck next time.
Right.
Celine's song, I will be watching the next film you put out.
Yep.
So go ahead and make it good. Girl.
Yep.
Just like you did. Period.
What I'm curious to see is if Challengers, because my prediction is by the end of the season, Challengers is either going to be number 1 or it's going to be in the top 3. I don't think it's going to fall. I haven't seen all the movies that we're going to talk about yet in this season, but I feel pretty strongly that Challengers is not going to fall from the top 3.
I agree with that statement. I definitely agree.
But we'll see. we never know. We never know.
Yes.
So tune in.
Okay. Yes. Next week
Yes.
on We Watch Movies and Talk About Them.
Exactly. Any closing remarks or closing thoughts on our first bonus season episode?
Yes. We're starting off strong.
I think we are.
These 2 movies are pretty solid. Like Challengers top 3, of course. Past Lives, I'll be surprised if it goes below like the half mark at the end.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah. So
I think it's going to be
the
somewhere
upper
at
half
least
of our
middle
films.
of the pack.
Got you. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I can see that. So we'll see.
We shall see.
Right. Well, until next episode, Chanel.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye. Is someone knocking on my door? Hello? Open the door. Open the door. I'm filming a podcast right now. Goodbye.
Hi.
You want to say hi to the podcast?
No, thank you.
Okay, bye.